Later today, we will gather at Air Force Base Swartkop in Pretoria to receive the remains of 14 South African soldiers who lost their lives in the eastern DRC. We will pay tribute to our fallen soldiers and honor their contribution to the struggle for peace on the African continent. Much has been said in this House and in the debate in the National Assembly earlier in this week about the deployment of the SANDF in the eastern DRC. It is a debate that is welcome and necessary because South Africa's role in peacekeeping missions is indeed fundamental to the pursuit of peace, stability, and development in our own country, in the region where our country is located, and on our continent. The decision to deploy our armed forces is not taken lightly, particularly when that deployment may put our defense force members in harm's way. While South Africa has contributed to the SADC mission in the DRC, we have always maintained that an inclusive negotiated resolution is required to achieve lasting peace in the region. And we therefore welcome the outcome of the joint summit, a joint summit which was really historic in that it brought together SADC and the East African community over the weekend, and where we agreed that direct negotiations and dialogue must resume between all state parties as well as non-state parties, including M23. Now, we as South Africa insisted that non-state parties must also be included, and that M23, which has now invaded and taken over Goma, must also be part of this negotiation and dialogue. And we were able during that discussion to put forward our own experience as a nation, that as we brought the horror of apartheid to an end, it was incumbent on all of us to include state parties and non-state parties in the negotiation, and in the end, that is what finally led to the settlement of the apartheid horror. And we were able to share that with our colleagues and compatriots at the summit. And the message did sink in. And going forward, we are now going to see a dialogue that is going to involve state parties as well as non-state parties, all of them involved in an effort to bring an end to that conflict. The outcomes from the joint summit are in confidence-building measures towards a sustainable peace, which will finally lead to the drawdown of the SADC troops. As South Africa, we will do whatever is within our means to support the peace effort so that this conflict should finally end and the people of the region should finally know peace. This weekend, I'll be traveling to Addis Ababa in Ethiopia for the 38th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of Heads of States and Government of the African Union. The AU has designated the theme for 2025 as Justice for Africans and People of African Descent through reparations. South Africa and Ghana have been nominated to champion this theme. We will focus on actively engaging African diaspora to foster meaningful connections and encourage investment in our countries. This initiative is about more than reparations. It is a powerful call for unity, empowerment, and the upliftment of our continent. And together we will forge a resilient continent where hopes thrive. allowing people of African descent to reconnect meaningfully with their continent. We live in times of great uncertainty that are impacted by geopolitical events that are unfolding way beyond our shores. Closer to home, we have considerable challenges to overcome if we are to build a country free, or freedom rather, with true equality and shared prosperity for all. And this, in my view, is a time of opportunity and hope. Now, the Government of National Unity represents the best of that hope. We have demonstrated that we are prepared to put our political differences aside and work for the common good of all South Africans. And we have decided that we are not going to sit on the sidelines and make noise. We've decided that we are going to fold our sleeves and get right into the center of what needs to be done. Now, this government remains united in pursuit of South Africa that improves the material prospects of every South African man and woman and child. And we are committed to upholding our hard-won democracy. We are also committed to expanding the frontiers of opportunity for all South Africans. As we do so, we are guided, as I've said in the past, by our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and the rule of law. And as we rise from this debate, I am convinced that despite our differences, we share a common desire for a South Africa that belongs to all who live in it. And from what I have heard in this debate, this desire is shared by all sides of this House. And that to me is heartening, because it is this vision of a nation that works for all. Even those who were critical of what is being done in government were also united in saying we do need a vision that is going to take this country forward. They were able to put
Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, and give us your comment in the comment section below. Remember, Africa is watching. Thank you so much.
Be spending a considerable amount of time going through